Yeah, amazing.
So I've managed to press record. That's one thing, and it's worked. So so welcome to the Community Asset Bingo room. I'll just hang on if anybody else turns up. But in the meantime, just a very quick, if everybody unmutes and just shares a little bit about why they chose this room or what they're doing, just to get a feel of it, and then we'll dive straight in because there's a lot to go through. Fergus.
Hi, I'm Fergus. I work for Power to Change. I support the mutual aid groups. That's one of the contracts I run and look after. And I chose this room, Deana, it was because you were talking and I was inspired by you and I wanted to know more about you and find out. So being here is probably the best place to do that.
Well, thanks. Next. Can you pass it on to somebody? Because I'm just going to.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to go with Alison from Berwick. Oh, Alison Berwick from Lincolnshire, even.
That's it. Yes. Morning, everybody. Yes, I'm based in Lincolnshire and I work for Investors Care and we support lots of communities, trying to do exactly what kind of Colville's done as well, but trying to get them to do that. But it's great to be able to kind of pass on some of the skills and the techniques that they could use to transform some of their areas. And I came in this one today. I didn't hear the bingo bit before, so I just thought the title looked exciting, and so I thought I'd pop in and see. But I think it's a great story, and it's a brilliant one to be able to share back in Lincolnshire.
Cool.
Who's next? Karina. Hi
everyone. I accidentally started a KIC 2 years ago, which is Gateshead Community Organisation. We were in a council local authority building, and I'm just looking more and more into the sort of cooperative modelling. Obviously now I've got to research the Community Benefit Society, and just really excited about how you've done so much in that 1 year with a 15-year plan. It's fantastic. And Natasha.
Hi, I am working for Bodmin. We currently rent a building from the council and we're looking at purchasing it, potentially through CBS, or whether they will sell it or give us a long lease. But I'm particularly interested in this room because we need to do some further work, sort of connecting with local residents. Bodmin's a kind of cultural organisation, so they do event programming through the town and they do lots of different things. But the building at the moment, well, obviously COVID's stopping things a bit, but needs more engagement with some of the local residents in our area, which is kind of like one of the highly deprived areas in Cornwall. So I'll choose Bindi. Sorry if I said your name wrong.
Hello, Bindi, are you there? Do you want to unmute?
So Bindi's she's hosted sessions before, so she's probably yeah. So I think you might come back to someone else.
Gilead, sorry if I said your name wrong.
Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Gilead. Really nice to meet you all. Would you like me to introduce myself?
Yeah, we're just going to do a quick round the tables, and then I'll start on the Community Asset Bingo.
Okay, brilliant. Well, I'm Gilead. I'm from the E2 and E2 Online. We're based in Beaumont-Leys in Leicester, and we run a number of projects within the community. Specifically, we support young people and also people that are currently going through the devastating issues of the coronavirus pandemic. Supported them through a emergency food parcel scheme for people that are self-isolating due to the coronavirus pandemic, and also we also run a number of other projects, particularly for young people that are like the Strikeout project. This Strikeout project is for young people, ones that have been removed from mainstream education, and also most recently the holiday food and activities project that is coordinated by Leicester City Council for families that are going through they're currently at home because of the Easter break, and those families were given them a food throughout the days that they're at home. So one meal for each day they're away from school. They'll also get an activity pack, and also there's a YouTube channel as well for people to visit, and the Facebook page for people to see how they could utilize the activity packs and also other activities that are going on within Beaumont Leys. And yeah, that was all. I didn't want to take up too much time, so thank you. And if you had, I'll also post a link for the E2 website and Facebook page for you all to have a look at and join as well. And yeah, there's also a private Facebook group for a project that is also happening that me and Deana are both working on, and it's the E2 Direct and Digital Marketing Workshop for the Kickstart placements that are all that also Reaching People Consortium has been working. We've been working with, and yeah, if you all want to take part, feel free to fill out the questionnaire that's on the page. I'll also post that as well. So thank you again.
Fab, you weren't here at the beginning, so you don't know who's been. So we're just doing a quick round up of who's in the room. Graham, you're the last person before I introduce Victoria.
Apologies, I've had a few IT issues joining us, but nice to be here. I work in Newcastle in the west end of the city for a charity that runs or supports the community ownership of a swimming pool and leisure centre there.
Fabulous. And last but not least, we have Victoria, and myself and Victoria, you probably heard me mention her, had that jolly trip down to London, did we not? And we're going to share this workshop together. Do you want to say anything, Victoria, before we carry on?
Hi, I'm Victoria. I'm a graphic and web designer. I do a lot of community work.
Lots and lots. And she set up the Spoon Room.
Deana, just to say, I just had a message just to say that Bindi can't. Yeah, she's having tech problems. She's listening.
All right, cool.
She can't
Great,
unmute.
Bindi. That's fab. That's all we need to know. So I'm going to share my screen really quick, and we're going to go from the beginning. Hopefully, just thumbs up. Can you see what I'm? Does it say March the 31st on the screen? Yeah. Can you? So hopefully. We're going to whiz through some of this. We might not get to possibility thinking, I hope we do, but if we don't, I'll give you directions on how to get there. But we're going to be sharing what we've been community asset bingo, which is basically a strength-based approach and of working in your community, is all I can say. So myself and Victoria went down to London and worked with Cormac Russell, and you'll recognise some of these images as actually say, yeah, this is what we don't want to happen, and this is potentially what is happening in some communities. And as an antidote to this, it's all about starting with what's strong in communities, working with people, alongside people, finding out what's great and building on that, both within communities and within people. And that's what we're all about, basically. So when we came back from our trip, which was entertaining in itself, we created something called Community Asset Bingo, which was based on when we were down on the in the course, we went out into London, and one of the things Cormac had asked us to do was just go into the community and start thinking about all the assets that are out there. And then when we came back and started talking about it, we sort of categorized them, and these are what came out. So we talked about things like clubs, businesses, buildings, institutions, people, and the gifts that they bring, stories that make up our communities, transport, shops, structures, culture, and the natural environment. They're what we put them into at the time, but actually we also leave a what else, because there might be something else that we just haven't thought of that doesn't fit into any of those, so that's absolutely fine. And we created our Community Asset Bingo board. Now, the middle, I think that was the first session we ever did in Culver. We didn't have our posh boards then, we just had some bits of paper and we had some card, and we started off the conversation, and it was it was literally everybody wanted to put down everything that was crap about Colville. Nobody had anything positive to say whatsoever. It was just, feel free to dive in, Victoria, because it was like, oh my God, how's it going to work? And it went from that. And when we played community asset bingo, people were in pairs. We had these makeshift boards that we come up with, and they were just basically asked to see if you could get a full house or a line. And then we challenged each other back to say, well, what did you get? And it ended up being quite a good laugh. But by the end of it, what was incredible, with just some scraps of paper and some bits of card, is we had this incredible map of Colville, and with everybody absolutely buzzing about their community and what it had got. It was really quite fascinating. And then during COVID, and after we, Victoria had done her magic and created these boards, we had the posh versions that we'd printed out, and we could preload them with sticky notes and do a COVID friendly version where families and people and our local police officers could take them away and have a little go at thinking about them together, filling them in, and there's a bit of a competition element to it. So that's kind of where it came from. And Cormac has been using these, and he's been sharing them, and our plan was to do them in different languages and things like that, which we still can. But without further ado, what we're going to do is dive straight into it. Now, has anybody not used Jamboard before? If you haven't used Jamboard, stick your hand up. Brill. I'm hoping you're going to enjoy this, because Happy Henry taught me Jamboard, and it's just an amazing tool, and we've been using it. I mean, Victoria's now turned into a real whiz on it, but we're sharing it with the young people that we're working with on the Kickstart program. I don't know if you can, Victoria, can you share the actual link in chat? What I'm going to do is come off share, stop sharing. I'm going to go on to there'll be a link in chat, but before you click on it, have you got it? I think I've got it. I might have it still in my thing, Victoria. No, I can go and get it. I can get it from the presentation. I'll just give you a little demonstration for those of you who haven't done it before. So I'm going to pick up the link. Here we go. Let's copy it, put it in chat, and then here we go. And you sent to everyone, not just to Bindi. There we go, paste. So don't press on it just yet. I'm just going to do a quick demo. So I've just pressed on it, and this is what I'm going to share my screen so you can see what you can get, what it will look like. Share screen. So this is what it will look like. So if you're familiar with it, feel free to click on it. If you're not familiar, you might want to watch this for a second. So when you get into it, you'll come to a screen like this, and you'll appear up here as an anonymous character, some sort of animal normally, and you'll see these little boxes at the top that say 1 to 20, and I want you to click along, and I want you to come to room 1. Along the side here, you'll see a little row of things. On the 4th one down says sticky note. So what I'd like you to do is click on sticky note. When you click on it, you get something that looks a bit like that. Pick a colour. So pick any colour you wish, and then put your name in it, as Victoria's demonstrated, and now I'm there. So as you join in, we can see who's in the room. So Victoria's gone for yellow, I've gone for pink. As you join, choose your colour, and it's just to make sure everybody's, first of all, use Jamboard, but also if there's any problems whatsoever, we'll work that out if anybody can't get in. So I'm just gonna come back to the room. I'm really glad there's the number that we've got. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of us all together. Is there 12 or isn't? Actually, I might just be double counting you. How many of us are there in the room? Yeah, I think there is 12.
It says 9 and participants.
Oh, does it? Oh, great. Oh, that's easy then. So there's 9. Excellent. So we'll wait for extra 3 then that won't appear. So 2, 4, 6. Anybody struggling? We've got Alison. We've got Karina. How are you doing? You can, if you want to unmute, that's fine. Because normally what I would do on this, people would go in different breakout rooms, but we're going to attempt to do it all together. So if you want to unmute, Karina, I can't hear you.
I missed the bit of how you select your colour.
All right, so you click on the left-hand side here, click on sticky note, and then when it pops up, you get a choice of colours across the top, and you just pick one of the colours and then stick your name in.
Right, okay.
Brill. Let's see. So Graham, how are you doing?
Fine.
Cool. Do you know what, we're using this all the time with the Kickstart crew, and it's just, Jamboard is awesome, just on its own without any community asset bingo.
I keep
Gillard's in,
clicking on that.
Fergus is in. That's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Karina's in, well done. So Graham, how are you doing?
Well, not very well. I'm clicking on the sticky note and nothing's happening.
Okay, do you want to cross it off at the top, go up and delete, delete it, and then just come in again, see if that works. Are you on a normal computer?
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be fine then. Just try it again. Okay. Try it again. Who else we got? Anybody else? Natasha. Oh, yeah, Natasha's in. Bindi, I'm guessing's listing, may or may not be in, so I'm not going to worry too much about Bindi. 2, 4, 6, 7. So it's, yeah, just Graham. We need to help Graham get in.
Well, I'm sorry.
Don't worry. You can unmute and you can join in through me. Now, am I sharing the screen? So Graham, you should be able to see the screen. Everybody else should be in it. Okay, so page 1, as you can see, we've got the colours. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to put you into teams. So we'll have Karina, Gulid and Tash. You can go in a team. And then Alison, I'm going to change your colour to pink. Sorry, this is how you change colours. So Alison, Fergus and Graham, you're going to be pink. I'm going to do you a sticky note, look. And you can, actually, just before we move on, I'm going to just share how you can get this as well. Graham, you're in pink. This Jamboard, you will be able to save yourself. So at the top here, can you see there's 3 dots? When you click on the 3 dots, it allows you to make a copy. So you can make a copy to use in your community, to play with. We can, yeah, so that's how you make a copy for yourself. And then once you've made a copy of a Jamboard, you can use it however you want and share it yourself. Okay, so I'm going to just stop doing that a second. Victoria, anything you want to add on that at the moment? Oh, Anonymous Kangaroo's joined. Who's that? Don't know. We'll see. So to move along, so we've got a pink group and we've got a blue group. Okay, so we're going to move along the top, and I've labelled up the community asset bingos. So we've got the blue group. Where's the blue group? I'll put the blue on page 6. So anybody in the blue group, scroll along to page 6, and anybody in the pink group, scroll along to page 2. So what we're going to do is basically just have a think about, in our communities, this is you in your community, and obviously it'll come from all different parts of the UK. It's a bit of a challenge. Let's complete community asset bingo. So yeah, we're going to try and populate the whatever you call it, the form, the board, with as many sticky notes as you can. First one to get to a full house. Just thinking about what's the assets in your community. So when we've finished it, we can have a look at your board and go, wow, this looks like a cool place to live with all these different people, but obviously they'll come from all over the place. So Graham, if we're doing this by unmuting and sharing, I can be your adder. So let's just go back to page 1 and have a check. So Fergus, Alison, Graham are pink. Gulid, Karina, Tash are blue.
And ask a quick question.
Yes.
So there's 2 pages there, round 1 and round 2 on page 6. So are we all filling it in on round 1?
Yes, we're doing round 1. Yeah. So round 1, from your own perspective in your own communities, just thinking about, yeah, first one to fill a screen up.
Okay.
So I'm going to leave the blues. I'm going to go onto the pink page. And okay, Graham, so if you want to, if you're not in yet and you want to shout any out, feel free. So is there any of the assets that stood out to you? Any sculptures in your location? Anything about the culture you want to add? And just tell me and I'll put it in. So we've got Fergus, Alison, Victoria. Yeah, can you help the blues? Victoria's going to be in the blue room and I'm going to be in the pink room. And then when you've done your sticky note, you are able to then move it around. So when it creates it, it will always put it in the top left. So then you can just grab it and move it onto the place where you want it. And if we're doing round 1, so if you move your sticky note onto round 1, then you can decide whether this is better to do it in person with sticky notes or on this crazy way of doing it. Westgate Hall, who's put that one in? Let's have a look. Is that a institution or is that a favourite building? And then you can see it talks about why as well. So at the moment we're just having a quick play, but you can really dig down into people's reasons why, get more information, start a conversation. We're just having a quick play, so you just get the idea and of both Jamboard and Community Asset Bingo. So I'm going to do one. Have you got any you want to add, Graham?
Yeah, I mean, what I would have added is institution, Elsick Community Pool and Leisure Centre.
Oh, excellent. Community. I'll write that one in for you.
You.
We can sort the Jamboard out.
Right. I'm sorry. I'm just not getting any joy at all here.
No, we'll if it's something that you think you might want to use as a
yeah.
Then we'll help you use it. If it's something you think, actually I'm not going to use this, but I like the Community Asset Bingo, obviously all you need to do is download the thing. The Community Asset Bingo form is on our website that you can just download for free. But we're putting together a community connecting pack, which will include the boards and some of our other things. So I've got your Community Pool and Leisure Centre there.
Right.
If you want to, have you got any sculptures? We're short of a sculpture on page 2.
No,
no sculptures in favourite. Oh, actually. Anything about transport? Whereabouts are you, Graham, again?
In the West End of Newcastle.
Western Newcastle. Hang on a minute. We did the Geordie Heroes exhibition up there. One of the things we did in Colville was Famous 50, and then the Home Office visited us and said they wanted something in Newcastle. So we came up to Newcastle and did a project up there. I'm just trying to think of the amazing sculptures that I saw up there.
I mean, we see the Angel of the North from...
You can't steal that, that's mine.
We've got it, we've got Angel of the North.
Newcastle already tries to steal the quayside.
I only mentioned it, Karina, because you can actually see it from the pool.
Angel of the North, we've got it. How's your group doing, Victoria? Have you got a full house yet over there? Frome Valley Growing Project. Three short.
Get out here.
Come on, pinks. There must be a person in the community. Beaumont Lee Shopping Centre. Cool. That's going to be a business that can go in that one with the butchers in Colville. Isaac Newton from Grantham. I'm going to put the library over there and Beaumont Lee Shopping Centre in the business. Come on, we need one more person. We've got Isaac Newton. A story. I'm going to put Victoria's story because that's pretty cool.
House.
Yeah, we're there. Was that the Blues?
Yeah.
We did it at the same time. So obviously the purpose of this is to have a little bit of fun.
Oh,
Let's have a little look. Let's just check. Go. So if you want to, you can scroll along and see other people's pages. So if you want to look on page 6, so I'm scrolling along to show Graham what's in there, and everybody can see if they're looking at the screen. But if you're on your own screen, you can also be on page 6. So the blue team have filled up their lines with amazing people, places, stories, and then you can obviously start thinking about what any of those mean, start connecting people, digging a little bit deeper, and challenging each other. So when we did it, we were asking people, you know, is that really special? Is that best one? And it just got people talking basically about amazing spaces in their community. Any of the blue team want to comment on how it felt doing community asset bingo?
I was just trying to write as quickly as possible and go bang, 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 bang. But I kind of thought that there'd be, I didn't feel like I suppose that you could have more in one space. But that's, I suppose, because I was doing it online. I didn't know what the rest of my team were doing because we weren't talking, or maybe not from the same community. So I wasn't doing it alongside anyone else. So maybe that bit was a bit missing for me. But yeah, I kind of like had a bit of brain freeze because I was trying to do it so fast.
I know. Anybody else in the blue team want to share how it felt doing that? I think what was great, actually, you were putting in more of the extra bits. It wasn't just the actual place, it was coming up with the reasons why and digging a bit deeper as well, which is great. And obviously when you're in person, you can do this. And if you've got more time, you can do it as well. We're just giving you a quick flavour of it so that you can use this in any way you want.
I found it to be really exciting, like real bingo. It's been a long time since I played real bingo. So
and you can come up with your own ways of doing this, so that's brilliant. Just let's zoom back to page 2, pink team. Anybody from the pink team want to share about how they felt doing that?
I mean, I'm quite comfortable with Jamboard, so we use them quite a bit. But I found this really useful, like, interesting about how you can take something which is you'd normally designed to be done in person and then put it digitally. So I think it works really well. And just to back up the comment that, you know, because we're doing this over 2 rooms over 1 call, like I think it would have been better if there was communication, right? If we were talking about what we were putting down as we were doing it, but that's just the nature of where we're at when we're doing it. But yeah.
Well, we're going to do that in the next session, in the next round, because normally I would put people into breakout rooms. Now, Happy Henry's gone the extra thing. In his room, he's sending people to his own room so he can do breakout rooms, because liberating structures, you need that. You need the extra breakout rooms. Here, I just thought we'd experiment. Like, I was hoping that we got about the number we did, otherwise it would have been too many. But what we'll do now, we can all work together on round 2. And if we just stick on page 2, and you can use any colour you like, but what I want you to have a little bit of a think about is a group that you might want to connect to in your community. So it could be young people, it could be older people, it can be a certain group that you want to connect with. So does anybody want to offer up a...
Sorry, I missed the first word of that sentence.
So we're looking for a group that you want to connect with, that you want to make more connections with, that you're currently not connected with.
Right, youth.
That does come up as a popular one. Is everybody happy to do youth as an example?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're going to add a sticky note. And this time you're going to put your young people's hats on. So we've got a little tool called OPV, which is basically other people's views. It's a De Bono tool. If you've come across De Bono before, he believes that if you teach people how to think, you'll get better results, and every young person should have these tools, and one of them is OPV. And OPV simply means other people's views, and by giving it a name and letting it live in your brain, the idea is that you can get to it quickly in order to, you know, to change behaviors for the positive. So we use OPV a lot, sharing it with young people, but in this situation what we're going to do is put our OPV hats on, and now you've all got to think of a young person that you know, or a young person that's typical of the young person that you want to connect to, and you're going to put your OPV hat on. I would normally get you making hats and things, but we won't bother with that today. So you are now that young person, and now think about the community and the assets from their perspective, and now do the same exercise. So have a think about places and spaces, and let's see if we can fill up the second board.
Where's mine?
Now,
Where do you
we-
put something like skate park? Because there isn't anything on outdoor spaces or
Anything else?
yeah, so if you can't think of a place, you know, it could go, then you just put it in anything else. But it could be where would it be?
I've
Not
just
really
put
man-
skate park on, and I put it in the clubs, like,
Oh,
like
yeah.
sort of sports sort of thing. But yeah,
Yeah, so it could be a club, it could be a park, so it's kind of part of the natural environment, or man-made structure.
okay.
So you can put them in numerous places.
yeah, it fits well in man-made structure, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, what was really interesting, we did this exercise, the session that I mentioned earlier, where it went from really negative to really positive. The young people's version was exceptionally negative.
The word to put that.
and for some of the young people, the only places that they could connect to was their home and Chucky's. And Chucky's, I think, is like a chip shop in Colville. Even when we started saying, well, what about other places? And like the park, no, park, drugs, don't want to go there, get into trouble. And literally, some of the young people we spoke to, it was literally their house and Chucky's. So we started to ask other questions, didn't we, Victoria? There was one particular about, okay, so we're going to give you it was Colville pretend Colville money, what would you spend it on? And they got on thinking about the sort of spaces they would want to see, and started to engage in that way. But then lockdown happened. So we have been sharing this with the young people on Kickstart. So how are we doing? What does it feel like to have a young person's hat on? And how different is it feeling from when you were doing it for yourself?
It does feel quite negative and miserable.
More limited, you know, if possibly where they go or feel safe. I don't know.
I feel uncomfortable doing it for young people because I feel like I'm trying to put on top what I think is important to them. And a lot of the things are like where you've got the colleges and the kind of the organisations that specifically are in the community who work with those people, maybe. I don't know.
I think that's interesting, that discomfort, because I think it's I share it, but I think it's useful for us to go through as adults, or to go through this process to understand, like, yeah, how it's just empathizing with the sort of the sense of not having, of lack of opportunities and lack of assets, I suppose. I mean, you wouldn't want to do this in isolation and not ask young people themselves, would you? And their ideas would probably trump what we were putting in, but.
Absolutely, it was just to get you thinking. It was partly to introduce OPV as a little tool, partly to just seeing what other things it brought out when you were thinking about the local area, and how you might use this with young people as part of what you are doing.
Can I ask you, Deana, about group sizes and things like that? Because you know, like if you had 5 young people, do you think it's something that you could do it with a small group? Or
Yeah, I think you can do it with, you know, you can do it one-to-one, and you can do it with lots more. In fact, what I recommend to do is to listen to the Liberating Structures session after you've, you know, because it's all going to be recorded. Listen to that, because there'll be lots of different ways of engaging with people at all different levels there, and that's what I found working with Happy Henry. The Liberating Structures are about everybody having a voice, and there are 30 different structures that you can sort of choose from, and he's sharing 3 or 4 of them today. And it's thinking about how we use those both online and also when we're able to get back together, and some of the other tools.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say this might be something to talk about later, it might come up, but one of the things I'm particularly interested in is that kind of where you are trying to have some of these conversations, and just having the conversations can have a negative response. So for example, you know, there was a post on Bodmin's got kind of like quite a strong kind of like negative voice that streams through some of the social media online, like some of the open kind of like the real Bodmin Voice kind of chat forum things that are out. You know, someone said, what shops do you want to see on the high street? It's just had a flurry of the big shops just all leave. So, and, you know, and then you get people saying, well, obviously a lot of them are like saying they want Primark. So there's that kind of realization about what's actually achievable. But the other side of it is that, you know, why do you keep asking us these questions? We give you answers and then you don't, then nothing changes.
That's it. So that is so funny you mentioned that, because that's exactly what happens in Colville. Everybody has a moan. Somebody then puts up they want Primark. So I just, things like that, I just put the ball in their court. Okay, well, you want Primark, what have you done about it? So I googled the head office at Primark and put the number on. So if you want Primark, you know, call them, find out what you need to be able to do, start something to get it going, or what is it you really want? You know, and we just try and change the conversation to more about taking responsibility, because underpinning Colville Can CBS and any cooperative is personal responsibility. So it's not about moaning about something, it's actually what you're going to do about it. So the surveys, so we've not just been doing this in isolation. Things like the surveys are about, okay, what's great out there and what are you prepared to do? And I can, like I say, wholly recommend the sort of stuff that Cormac does, because the first questions are bringing people together, and then, okay, what is it you can do for yourselves, rather as opposed to what you're expecting somebody else to do for you, and trying to change that conversation slowly over a period of time, which is why we've said 15 years, because to go through that process and start to build up some sort of that level of responsibility, and it matches to the schools, the tools that we're sharing, because the tools are all about, nobody's going to make these decisions for you, you've got to make them yourself, but there's loads of ways to get together and help people and make them happen. But
how do you find, sorry Deana, how do you find managing people's expectations of how long it takes for things like that to happen though? Because that's what, you know, when you actually to get what kind of appetite there is for people to get involved, I think sometimes people don't realise how long, you know, 15 years is completely reasonable, you know,
and that's why, exactly why we've done that 15 years, because that's how long it is going to take, and longer, but also we'll get some wins on the way. And I guess for us it's just about being honest, completely honest, and not promising anything, and being open and honest about what we're aiming to do. And that's
Deana,
what I was,
So I had a bit of a follow-up question. So I think that's right. Being stated from the beginning, 15 years is it's a really useful way of framing it. So I think it just gives people that sense of time. But just thinking, you know, have you come across community organising? But it sounds like, you know, a lot of the approaches you're talking about here ring true to community organising, about like giving people agency to sort of solve the problems themselves. So saying listening, but like actually putting empowering people to be part of the solution, and saying like, yeah, you know, there's only one way this is going to work. Right? We're going to move this forward. It's as if you actually, you know, do something about it, and actually helping people to do that.
Yeah, and it's funny enough, I got the reminder thing this morning to say, would you recommit? So, and there's a big gap in Leicestershire of community organisers. So obviously, I know we're doing something similar, I suppose, and we're part of their movement. In fact, we did this workshop with them in the summer. So I was going to message to say, how can we be a recognised group within your thing?
Yeah, have a chat with Nick and the guys over there, because I'm sure that they would love to get. I mean, I'm really impressed with what you're doing. So yeah, I think they'd love to be involved.
Cool. So we're going to just zoom on because I realise we've not got much time. We're going to zoom to the end. If you all zoom on to page 12, I wanted to share another little tool with you called a PMI. It's another De Bono tool, and it's just a really good way of we can get some feedback, but also it's a good tool for you to use for anything, to analyze a situation quickly, and it stops people from being ingrained in good and bad, black and white. It's kind of, and it's called a PMI, and it's basically what are the pluses, what are the minuses, and then what's interesting. And only if we get to the what's interesting will we start to come up with different ideas and new solutions. So just very quickly, in on here you can use your post-it notes. So you're on page 12. Pluses about using community asset bingo. So what are the pluses? Graham, if you've got any comments you want to just shout them out, and I can pop them in.
It didn't work.
So the idea of the PMI, you spend 30 seconds thinking about what the pluses are of any, this is any situation, but we're going to use it for community asset bingo. And for me, it's going to give me some feedback. For you, it's sharing a new little tool that might be useful. Sorry, Graham, you said something, but I didn't catch it.
No, it's okay. I'll just watch. I'm fine.
Cool. Yeah. Just shout if you want me to put anything in. So pluses, excellent. So you spend, need more time to go into minus. So yeah, minuses, spend 30 seconds on the minuses. And then the final one to have a little think about, when you can spend as long on interesting as you like, but it's what's interesting. And in the what's interesting, so you can look at some of the issues that have come up. You can think, oh, actually, who else could I share this with? How might we possibly? So you're asking questions about what if they share community asset bingo in every primary school at year 6? What would happen then? What would happen if? What if we looked at it this way? How might we help somebody get the confidence to facilitate a session like this? So it's a little tool called a PMI, pluses, minuses, and what's interesting. And you can use it for anything. So who else might you share it with? Now you've done this, you might want to put things in about who you might share it with. Just while you're having a quick look at that, will anybody be willing to share back from the room with? So I'm going to go back into the main room, and it was just somebody to just summarise what we've been doing.
I don't mind.
That'd be lovely. Thank you. That's awesome. Now we're not going to get time to do possibility thinking, but I do want to introduce you to it so you can do it later on, because I can send you the resources to do it. So this is cool. So you can see how PMI works. You can come back to look at this because I'll leave this Jamboard up. In the 3 dots, you can download it as a PDF. You can also copy it and have your own version. You can clear it and start again. So that's fantastic. So because we've got limited time, I'm going to come back to a new share. If I can work this out. Yeah, new share. I'm going to go back to my presentation, workshop, quick. Okay, so if you come out of that back to the Zoom room, hopefully that gave you a little flavour of some of the tools, community asset bingo, and we're going to just look at one final thing from the current slide. Okay, so we have a little tool. It's mine and Victoria's favourite tool, possibility thinking. So this is going to be a bit of homework for everyone because we're going to get zoomed out of this very shortly. With possibility thinking, there are no wrong answers. We have a suite of prompts that can help. And the idea is to just keep thinking. You're not assessing your answers. You're not trying to judge them or anything. Whatever comes into your head, and the purpose of it is to get over what you normally would come up with. To do possibility thinking, you need a good question that you actually want some answers for. So you've got to have that good question with a good, how might you possibly use community asset bingo? Who might possibly involve in your next project and how might you involve them? What possible ways could you get the council to support what you do? but you've got to have a question that you actually want an answer for and that you're looking for ideas. And using how might and who might and possibly as many times as you think of will help you generate those ideas. And then you just pick up a pen and you start coming up with answers. Okay, so we've got 2 minutes. There's some questions there. You might want to have a little look at those. But I'm going to give you this for homework and I'm just going to whiz through so you get the idea. We've created some prompts. So if you get stuck when you're doing possibility thinking, you can just use some prompts which might help. So if you had a magic wand, what would you say? Who might you possibly involve? What if you turned into a problem into a solution? So there's all sorts of prompts there that you can use. So I'm not expecting you to do it now, but I'd like you to go home and do it. And in this one, there's some extra prompts here. I'm just going to pop them up. These are all things that you might think about adding. Especially what might you make disappear? I love that one. What might the world's greatest expert advise? And there are also some involving others prompts that might be useful. And I'll send you these. So what you can do, download the Community Asset Bingo card. It's on our thing. Use the Jamboard. You've got the link. You can make your own copy. What other resources are out there? I was hoping that you could share some with me. So if you've got some cool stuff that you use, please let us know. Email. And thank you very much for coming. And was it Natasha, whoever said they would share? Thank you very much for that. I'm going to stop sharing now. So I'll go and try some possibility thinking. Me and Victoria used it on the train back from Cormac's session. And literally we realised not only was it brilliant for coming up with ideas, it also is a massive anxiety buster. Because we came up with 60 ideas for how we were going to get out of this situation because we'd actually jumped on the wrong train and we didn't have a ticket. For the right train. And so we said, how many possible ways can we think of to avoid paying the fine? And we ended up with some actually the alcohol probably didn't help because we did have quite a few rude ones as well, but we had rap battles going on in the train. We had shrinking ourselves to the size of crisp packets. We had pretending one of us was dead. We had all sorts of things. But this is the idea. Impossibility thinking, if you're not laughing at the end of it, you're not doing it. You're just thinking too hard about whether it's possible or not. The whole point is, forget all that. Just get out there and do it. Would you say, Victoria, have you got anything you want to add to the end of that, Victoria? Because
well, in 2 seconds, I don't know.